So I am just putting together our petals for our big flower, our giant paper flower. And to get these papers to curl like this, I'm using a pretty decent cardstock as far as its weight goes. And I start with the bottom of the petal and I'll just roll it into a cone and just hold it for a couple seconds. And it will kind of set that nice curl to it. Now for the inner petals, I've already got some done. I curl it to the inside, and then when I start to do the outer petals, I curl it to the outside. So when I put this one together, the curl comes in, I fold them over, glue them. When I do the outer petals, you go on the outside, put the curl outward, and then we can glue. I'm just using a hot glue gun, but be very careful. Many a burn with a hot glue gun. And you just overlap them and hold them for a second. And since I'm using pretty thick cardstock, I'm not going to burn myself too easily. You just give it a little bit of a hold here, and it should set itself. You can also use something like, oh my gosh, I can't even think, clothespins or something, yeah, that would hold it together too after you've kind of set it to make sure that they don't move. You could use a paper clip or something if you're worried about it. But then just overlap them just a little bit and then hold it in place. I do have some glue coming out, so I don't want to like burn myself on that piece because I know that's really hot. Yeah, that's already dry. I have a fan going in here too, so it's going to cool them off pretty quickly, so that they will be ready to go. Now I'm working with 5-inch petals, 7-inch petals, and 9-inch petals for this particular flower. And I've already done some little centers to go in them that I've done out of paper as well. So I am working on just finishing up the petals. I usually try to lay mine on the table the direction that I need them to go when I put them together. So my outer petals should all be laying this way when I pick them up so that they're ready to be glued and I'm not accidentally gluing them the wrong direction and have to recut them. Like that one. I glued it the wrong direction, didn't I? Did I glue it the wrong way? I did glue it the wrong way. See, that's what happens. You get them going the wrong way. But it's easy enough to just pop these apart, turn it over, and glue it the other direction. I might have actually had that one going. I still have it going the wrong way, don't I? Not being very smart about this today, am I? It needs to go this way. It still puts it on that side though. Not quite sure what I'm doing today. I'm having a brain fart apparently. It still goes on that side. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm losing my mind. That one's getting hot now that I've put so much glue in there. These petals should go outward like this. And you can go back and recurl some of these if they're not as curled as they were. Just give them a little, try not to crinkle them too much. You're like, I don't know what I did here. I've got all of these going the wrong way, don't I? These are going the right way. Let me pop these two apart. It's pretty simple, it's just hot glue. You can't mess it up too badly. It needs to go. Curl goes out, but this needs to go in. I guess I could have left it glued and just bent it backwards, but that's okay. I'll just re-glue it so I know. And my curl's going the right way now. Yeah, I could recurl it the other way if I want to, instead of trying to re-glue it the other direction. It's the same thing, just curl the tip underneath instead. Go back the other way. You got a pretty petal. I still have some bigger petals to do. Let me see if I can get a hold of them. underneath this stack up here. Here's some of the 9-inch petals. Let me find a good place for these. I stuff all over. And I don't have any of these curled. Whoops. But I do need my glue guns being traveled across the paper here. It's not very happy with me. Make a big mess. So the easy way to stack them up, grab the bottoms, because the bottom, if it gets a little crinked, isn't a huge deal, because most of the time the inner petals cover those up anyway. And then curl those down. If you want them to stay like this longer, you can, rubber band them or something to keep them held in place for a while until you're ready to work with them. It's not too big of a deal to just hold them for a few seconds and then let them uncurl. And again, we want the petal to go out, so put your petals this way on your table, and then you can glue your bottoms. It's a little bit harder when you get to these bigger ones because they're going to stand up right away. Get my glue over here. They're going to be a little stiffer and a little harder to work with when they're this big. And they will stand right up. If you don't want your petal to stand up quite as much, you cannot overlap this bottom piece quite as far, and it'll give it a little bit gentler lay instead of being quite so tall. I'll show you what I mean. You're sitting here with your petal curled out, because this is the outer one. The more you cover, so this is very slightly covered, and then the more I cover this, the more it's going to try to stand straight up in the air. So if you want that really gentle slope to your petal, then just don't cover it quite as much. And then that one stood straight up anyway. I'll just have to recurl the end over. Sorry if I'm not, you can't see what I'm working on there. Might have been out of the camera there. Sorry. And then we might just have to go back and recurl some of these really big petals so that they have their pretty petal shape. But we can do all of that when we're putting it all together. So. I'm not using a ton of glue. It's just a little bit, just enough to hold it together. Because this is thick cardstock, so we got to make sure that it stays the way you want it to stay. Got a little crink in that one. And you can do other things with these. You can come in with a rounded soft tool, and you can kind of ripple the edges too. This is a pretty stiff paper, so it's probably not going to want to do that nice rippled edge with one of those tools. I might go in a little while and use like a clothespin and just curl these under and pin them for a while so that they stay down. And glue can out the back of that. Ouch. Kind of stuck to that one. And I'll just have to recurl these when I'm ready, because I kind of flattened that a little bit. Excuse the noise in the background if you hear it, it's my son. He's watching YouTube, of all things. Imagine that. Okay, I'm going to get some more pieces and I'll be back.